Hello and welcome back to the Cesspool podcast, where we talk about everything and anything, no matter how disgusting or offensive. This is our eighth episode, and we'll still be introducing ourselves. I'm your co-host Tyler, with my other co-host Joseph.
Today, we'll be talking about SpaceX, school, lawsuits, and something about Sony. Elon Musk's SpaceX is actually buying up a Texas village, and a ton of homeowners are complaining about it. Elon Musk is trying to buy the homes of people in Texas. Some of these homeowners are really stubborn and don't want to give up their homes, which makes sense because they're perfect vacation homes for these people, and many of these people are assuming it's because there's a lot less security and safety issues with having nearby residents living so close to the launches of SpaceX rockets. SpaceX also has hinted that they want to create a resort that area, kind of develop it into a resort, but that's all like based on the company's postings. We don't know for sure. Others are making parallels with the scenario of like the fact that people for like long time ago in the old west or whatever, right? Like these settlers were bought out of their land by outsiders, so that they can develop those large areas of land. A lot of people are making parallels between that and this. um yeah, Elon also tweeted in March creating the city of Starbase, Texas, adding that this would happen through incorporation of the town. This is a tactic that mining companies commonly use to create company towns. It's a tactic. If this tactic works, Starbase officials would have the power to eminent domain. So pretty much what they're saying is, if SpaceX somehow incorporates this entire town, SpaceX can control literally that entire area, like almost like independent state, able to create their own city managers, city councilors, or mayors. Even get a power enough to eject holdouts such as those homeowners. SpaceX could even control the police, could issue tax-free municipal bonds, and attain statutory, dude, I don't know how to speak English today, authority over one road in and out of the village, opening and closing it at will. So the question here is, do you think Elon would kind of do this so that he can make this, village or city solely in control of SpaceX, or is it for safety issues, or there's multiple reasons that what do you think is the reason for him buying the places?
Uh, yeah. So I get the idea of it being like safer if residents weren't so close to the launch site. I think it's kind of a stretch to say that they would create like a company town, although Elon did tweet that basically,
Hmm.
and I could see him doing that. 100% could see him doing that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I could see it happening, and it's we've had this issue with company towns in the past, like throughout history, and they never last very long, honestly.
Hmm.
So I don't think this will be any different because people will just like the problem with company towns was that when the company had complete control over it, people just they were like, screw it, I'm gonna get a different job. I don't want to live like a literal slave, so they left. And I could see that same thing happening here.
Hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. It's kind of like you work and you are governed by the same, group of people, and that's kind of
Yeah,
alarming as well.
and they have
Um,
control. They have control over the prices of everything that you buy.
yeah, exactly. So for me, I think for SpaceX, it would be, really useful to do it. Just the question is how to, keep that from, dissipating or, disappearing in it, essentially, right? Since, like you said, a lot of these villages are company towns are kind of like disappear because a lot of people don't want to live where they work. So yeah, I mean, SpaceX either, if they are trying to do this, by the way, is like they have to find a way to keep people from leaving their town. Because I think there's a lot of benefit to, making a company town. Like, having people live closer is a good thing.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, being able to control a large group of land and people is, a huge power grab for SpaceX.
Hmm.
Um, to me, the furthest or like the weirdest thing is the resort. Like, why would you build a resort right next to launch sites, right?
Because it's
That
like
that makes
there's a lot of people who, well, for one thing, are like Elon Musk fanboys. So I could legitimately see a lot of people
no.
doing it.
Well,
Well,
yeah, I like
people
Elon Musk as well, but I don't. But why?
people like space. People are very interested in it. It's something that a lot of people don't know a lot about. So the idea of like going to a resort and seeing an actual rocket launch is something that most people normally don't have the opportunity to see. You know, I mean, like we've had, you can spectate, in the past, like a space shuttle or Saturn V back
Yeah.
in the '60s and '70s, but like, uh, you wouldn't be able to stay at the launch site. Maybe you'd only get to see the one. Maybe by
Yeah.
the time this is up and running, there's gonna be like several in a week, so you have the opportunity to see more than one. I'm sure there would be activities, probably like rides and stuff. And it's like,
Yeah, they let you ride the space to space. They just like let you ride the rockets. They're like, "You want to come along?"
yeah, I mean, because they are talking about tourist space travel, so
Yeah. I mean, Elon is like one of those guys who wants to push for normal people to be able to go to space. So yeah, it would make sense.
hmm
To me, the most likely thing based on the article is having a company town, because a lot of these SpaceX coworkers are or workers are apparently sleeping in these empty ranch homes, right?
uh-huh.
They're just going in and sleeping in them apparently, like according to this homeowner, and we don't know how much of it is true yet because SpaceX won't, disclose any information on that. But um, I think they're gonna make a company town, but I feel like Elon is smart enough, or SpaceX, the company, is smart enough to find a way to make it appealing for the workers to stay.
Yeah, well,
Like I don't think.
it usually initially is. It's just like over time, the company realizes, wait a minute, we don't have to do this, or we can upcharge this, or we could do this instead, save money, or whatever it is, make more
Mhm.
money off of people. That's generally how it works.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's an interesting thing because we haven't had a real company town scenario since like probably the early 20th century. Or maybe there's like a case of it some other time, but yeah, company towns have kind of fallen out of favor. But that's also
Yeah.
because business has moved out of the U.S. as far as factories are
Yeah.
concerned.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, I don't know how Elon's gonna do this. I don't know actually. Yeah, that's a weird. This is a weird situation because like, yeah, it's not very common for companies to make company towns anymore. The two most likely, as I just said, is like either they just clear everyone out of those areas so that, they can have more launch sites everywhere, expand their facilities, right?
Yeah.
Or or they can do the company towns, but I highly doubt. Well, I don't highly doubt it, but I feel like it's more reasonable to just make it into facilities or like room for their facility rather than like make it into homes for people, like their workers to live like that. To
Oh
me,
yeah.
that doesn't make much sense.
hmm
Yeah. Like, why waste having people live closer to you when you could just build more, like, labs and facilities that can, increase the rate of how many rockets you can launch and experiment better. So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Mhm. And we also talked about it before, how you didn't really like Elon Musk in general, and that's
No,
because
no, I just don't. I don't like. I don't know. I don't think that. I think he's kind of full of himself. I don't really think a lot of his ideas, um, like he's on the right track, but they're not actually gonna realistically be the solution to the problem. Like I don't think that SpaceX is going to ultimately become the dominant uh, company that's gonna be involved in space transportation. They are right now. They're pioneers, sure, but it's not going to be the dominant force forever. I can guarantee you that. Also,
mm,
Tesla, 100% not going to be the like dominant electric car
well,
company.
so far they actually have been. Like for
No, I
example,
know.
like Tesla actually went up against Nikola. So Nikola was like this up and coming electric car company. Well, it's a truck company.
Yeah, no, I know what
Yeah,
you're talking.
yeah. I read it on the on Wall Street Journal, and I thought it was a huge meme that they like are in debt now. It's kind of sad. So like as of right now, Tesla is beating everyone in the electric car company game.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't feel like Tesla would. From what I've seen, Tesla is not really gonna be the forefront for that long anymore,
Yeah.
since everyone else is trying to, kind of capitalize on that vacancy as well. To me though, the SpaceX thing, I have to disagree because NASA is not only
Oh, I'm
like
not saying
NASA.
NASA, but yeah, go on. I'm
No, but
sorry.
like I'm saying, like as of now, the most two prominent forces in this space exploration thing is NASA and SpaceX. So to me, the fact that they're working together really solidifies them being permanently in first place. But things can change. But yeah, to me, I think SpaceX is gonna definitely be a very prominent force in the space industry.
I mean, here's the deal with. Well, the thing is that eventually, at least in my opinion, I do think that SpaceX is going to be a more dominant force than NASA is because NASA isn't being funded at all anymore.
Mm,
And it's ironic actually because SpaceX is like they're renting one of NASA's launch pads. I forget which. It's like 39A or whatever, and
yeah.
uh, that's like where NASA is getting some of its money from, and it's funny because I don't know if NASA is going to. I mean, there isn't any talk about this at all, but like NASA is not really getting a lot done anymore, and if they are, they're getting help from SpaceX, which is a private company at this point. So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, what's going to end up happening is I think NASA is eventually possibly going to die, or it's gonna cease to be like what it is currently. It's going to
Yeah, they're
become more
definitely
of like
not gonna be. No,
like
they're
the
definitely gonna stop becoming like a space exploration or space scientific kind of. I feel like they're gonna hold on to some stuff. For example, like their satellite that kind of what I don't remember if it's a
they
satellite or
have like
something that like.
telescopes and stuff.
Yeah, but like there's like a thing that's like flying across the galaxy or something. You know
They
what
have
I mean, right?
probes and
Like
stuff. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that thing.
but like
Like
I
they're gonna keep doing that, but I feel like they're gonna become more military based now. Like I feel like they're gonna lose that science based goal and more of like how do we militarize our space um superiority almost, right?
well, what I was thinking actually was that they would become more of like an administrative. I know it's in the name, but like an administrative force for private space companies,
That makes sense.
like more of a
Kind of like
regulating body.
like whole like setting up precedents and like rules and standards. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
exactly. So like
Yeah.
it's a NASA
Unfortunate though.
approved it's a NASA approved space vehicle or whatever. But like
NASA, yeah, NASA has lost a lot of its because like NASA used to be super innovative, right? Like they made the microwave, they made a ton of like stuff we use every day, and it's kind of interesting that now they're kind of losing that innovation. They're not making as much stuff
Well,
anymore.
I mean, it's ironic because like the thing about NASA is that like when they were innovating, like when we were going to the moon, we were
Hmm.
first to orbit the Earth, whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, this was all being developed. It wasn't even really being developed by Americans. It was actually being developed by Germans that we may or may not have stolen after World War II. But
Dude, hell yeah.
no, I mean it is. And if you think about it, right? So between like the end of World War II and Space Shuttle,
Hmm.
that was pretty much that was it. That was the innovative period because we did
Yeah.
the space shuttle for like 30 plus years basically, and it worked. I mean, it was like that was a good design. Obviously, there's a reason that we did it for like 30 years.
Yeah.
But like yeah, that was it. We were like, I mean, we made it to the moon. We don't have to do anything else, right? Right, guys? We can
Yeah.
just keep going up to the space station, looking at the Earth from space,
Wait, isn't
take some
NASA start
pictures.
like looking at Mars, or they just gave up on that?
I mean, they're still talking about it. I think they have technically designed a rocket that is supposed to work, but
Hmm.
I don't hear about any like actual progress on it. So as far as I
Hmm.
know, the project is on hold, but I don't know
See,
honestly.
that's why I don't understand. Is like literally once they've landed on the moon, shouldn't they be like, okay, now let's look at other planets we can, explore and maybe inhabit? Like
No, they were
they've
just
never
like, oh,
got.
that's it. We can't.
Yeah,
That's
they
the
were
peak.
like they were like we beat the commies. Now we're done. We're done. We're
Yeah,
done.
we've
It's
peaked.
we peaked and we're gonna teeter out now. Yeah, see, like that's what I'm confused about. Is like that was like the monumental moment, and that was it.
Yeah, no, that
It's
was
like
it.
we
That
reached
was
the
it.
moon, and then that was it. Like, yeah, you got like rovers like in Mars, and you collected rocks. I'm like, okay, like I want a man there now. Okay, like how long does it take you to get I mean, it took a long time. I'm not saying
It
they
did, but
should,
it didn't. If you think about it, with the
yeah, like
technology,
how long has it been?
it's
It's been
been
so long.
52 years. It's gonna be 52 years
Do we
since we
need a
first
do we
landed on the moon.
need like
No,
Russian
we need
like space
Germans.
com
No, we need Germans again.
no, to compete. No, we need them to
Oh,
compete with
yes,
Americans.
yeah.
We need an excuse for NASA to decide to actually be motivated
Well, yeah,
again.
that is actually the problem. It's because there's literally no competition. Uh,
Yeah, just NASA.
yeah, I mean, Russia technically does, but like, it doesn't. I don't know, man.
They
There
kind of gave
are
up.
there are like other space programs. Like, there's a European one, but that never goes anywhere. Uh, there are. I believe there's a Chinese one. I'm not 100% sure, but none
Yeah,
of
but the
them.
Chinese one doesn't get anywhere either.
Yeah, they don't like do anything, and if they do stuff,
Have
it's
they
not
even
very
shot a
monumental.
rocket?
Yeah, I think China had because I was thinking about this, right? Because we retired the space shuttle in like 2011, and like how did we get astronauts to and from the space station for like during the period before like recently when SpaceX started doing it? How did we get them back? Because I think they were up there for like 3 years and then they come back, and they need like supplies. So someone has to send it, and we aren't doing it. So I
Hmm.
can imagine it's either Russia or China. I don't think Europe actually launches rockets, as far as I know.
Yeah, I think they're just those guys that go like, that star's pretty cool. Let's name it.
Well, they did launch rockets, but that was a while ago.
Yeah, it's like I don't think they launch rockets that too often anymore. Like they
Nope.
they kind of
I
they
don't
kind
think
of
they
just
do.
no NASA either though. Like
Oh
NASA
no,
hasn't
no, they don't. No, they don't.
NASA is more of like the space station stuff now. They're like we send astronauts to space to live there and stuff like that.
All right, last
So
NASA launch with astronauts. was in 2011. Yeah, it was the last space shuttle mission. That was the last time
That was
NASA.
10 years ago.
That was when
Why?
NASA sent passengers on a shuttle
That's
or on
unfortunate.
a spacecraft. That's it.
So, like, astronauts in America is pretty much a dead career.
Yeah, it
I
was
mean, except
cool
in
back in.
SpaceX, but yeah.
Yeah, it was cool back in the day, but now it's lame, just like a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like um I don't know. Is there any other like powerful opposing space privatized space companies that are thinking about, competing against SpaceX?
Um. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot that uh, Jeff Bezos has one, and Richard Branson.
Wait, hold on. Let's have a ad break.
All right, be right back.
When the clock strikes 6:30, babe, time to head for golden lights. It's a good time for the great taste dinner at McDonald's. It's Mac night. Come on, make it Mac tonight.
And we're back.
Yeah.
So
Sorry for the abrupt, stuff, but yeah.
yeah, now we were talking about private space companies, and so the other ones other than SpaceX that I've found are Richard Branson's Virgin Orbit and Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin.
Wait, Jeff Bezos has his own thing?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Now, Virgin Orbit
I'm
is like actually a thing. They've gone to space. They're delivering satellites and supplies. So that is like an actual company.
okay.
They have
How
a
about the Jeff
spaceport.
Bezos one?
I don't see anything really about it actually.
So he made a company that just does nothing.
Right? You know, they may not actually space testing. Very first seat on the new Shepard.
Well,
Oh, never mind.
as of now,
They're about to send astronauts into space. Okay.
okay, pretty cool. But so far, yeah, I'm gonna have to lean in with SpaceX with the fact that they're being the most active as of right now. And also I'm pretty sure they're one of the ones that that have been around the longest, right? As of compared to the other ones.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah, yeah. So to me, I feel like unless Jeff Bezos like pours a ton of funds into his thing, I feel like SpaceX is gonna keep leading on and gonna keep being the front runner of everything.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah,
no, for now.
unless you're talking about like Amazon shipping, then like when people start living in space, Jeff Bezos
Oh, I
can
could.
use space.
You're right. Actually, I forgot. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, he's gonna market to people, be like, use our thing to ship things and yeah. So yeah,
Amazon Galactic Prime.
dude, it's gonna be so expensive.
It's gonna be epic.
Yeah,
Instead of $100 a year, it will now be $1,000 a year. But you will get
dude, hell
your
yeah,
package. You will get your package of shampoo from Earth to Mars in less than 1 week.
that'd be insane.
Think of
That
that
would be
value.
true. Yeah. You wanna? We can go on to the next thing.
Yeah. Okay. So
All
move
right.
on.
The more the topic that's closer to us and more meaningful to us is going back to school full
Hold. Wait.
time.
Actually. Hold on. We're gonna have to take another commercial break.
Hell yeah! All
Okay.
right.
Give me a sec.
We're on our way. Rolling down the road to Burger all for one. Going for burgers. Just can't wait. Those crispy fries will sure taste great.
I can top that. Wow.
What a wacky one will trip. Hey, watch out, you don't slip. Riding high on super wheels, heading for a super meal. Frosty shakes and burgers with french fries on the side. Now it's the unicycle craze and you can have a ball. But don't mess with the unibike that's 7 stories tall. Or you're headed for a fall.
Time to get spinning to Burger King.
Good times are waiting round the bend. A special meal with special friends. Yeah, it's always something special when you're with Burger King.
And I believe we're back again.
Hell yeah.
Anyway.
I hope you guys enjoyed 2 ads just straight back to back.
Yeah, just like real YouTube.
Yep.
Anyway, you were saying you had a thing.
Yeah, going back to school full time. I don't know about anybody else, but our school is going back full time apparently. Apparently they're like the school really is into this like we can have full days of school, dude, and they want to make everyone suffer. That even the teachers don't want this,
No,
but
they don't.
the board of education is just like, what's great? Making everyone stay a couple more hours at school, more. Just make everyone suffer. But the bright side or the other side is there's rumors that the school is actually thinking about making seniors go back full virtual to give them more room to wiggle or, to give them more freedom. Apparently, like a ton of seniors have complained about not being able to do the work-based learning, the internship thing. You should know, Tyler.
Yeah.
And didn't have much freedom as previous seniors have. So the school kind of wants to do right to the students and like the seniors. So they're thinking of making everything virtual for them.
Really?
So,
that sounds kind of dumb.
But that's a rumor. That's not. We don't know for sure. But the certain issue is that we probably are gonna go back to school full time, or those who are virtual are gonna have to be there full time as well, which is unfortunate.
It's actually kind of funny because this, from what I understand, this is 100% an us problem, and everyone else has already gone back like full time. No, really. Most people who I talk to, they have already been going back for months, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Dude, I love our school being the slowest. Pretty epic.
Yeah.
Nah, dude, I don't want to go back to... No, that's also because, like, a lot of... Like, they were making votes for parents.
Oh, I
like,
know.
Whether or not they wanted to have school or not. And, like, a lot of the kids and parents just were like, nah.
They're like, no, I don't actually want to do this.
Well, I think a lot of the... Like, in our town, I think a lot of the kids are very outspoken compared to other towns.
Yeah.
So when something happens, like kids just fucking go ape shit. So they just they do whatever they want. And luckily our board understands that some of these things are important to students, so they do listen sometimes, but other times they don't. So they hit or miss.
Yeah. I don't know. It's very. I don't know why. It's like. I don't and the weird thing is what they need to do honestly is they need to they should have taken this situation, this opportunity of theirs where they literally have the opportunity to make their own brand new schedule. They literally have a reset button that they can hit and change all of the issues that are clearly present with the current schedule or the pre-COVID one, and change it for the better. There's better for the students, better for the staff, better overall for everybody. And they're like, yeah, but like we already made this one, and it's like it was really hard. So we're just gonna, we're not gonna change it.
Yeah,
And
that's the big issue with our school. It's just too lazy to change.
I mean, and that's the thing, right? Because what everybody talks about when talking about issues with the school schedule, it is undoubtedly the start time first period, that final bell or that first bell rings. It's way too early. Parents think it is, students think it is, doctors think it is. Um, but the school doesn't for some reason. And
Mhm.
in my opinion, their excuse that it's because of after extracurricular activities is completely bogus. Because here's your solution: um, either you either deal with that being an issue, and you make like a sports practice, for example. Like they kind of claimed one of their big things. They're like, oh well, if let's say we make school start at 8:30 instead of 7:45 or whatever, uh, sports practice is going to go until 6, 7, whatever, and then if it's a game, you have to take the bus. Maybe if it's an away game, and it's like, what? That if you think about it, right? The student
Mhm.
will just simply perform better because they got more sleep. They'll probably do better in class because they got more sleep. And according to actual sleep doctors, it's better if they get more sleep because that's just how specifically teenagers.
That's also workload as well, because we get a ton of workload due to the lack of actual school working in school.
Yeah, well,
So
in
the
this
big
situation, you're
yeah,
right. Hmm.
yeah.
But
So
I
the big
mean,
issue here is kind of getting that good measurement of that workload, right? So
yeah,
that enough so that people are actually paying attention, but also in not too much where like people feel uh you know too pressured.
yeah.
So
I mean, and here's the deal. Everybody, you know, complains about the way our school system is set up. And yeah, it's a problem. And weirdly enough, it's not just, this school or that school. It's a national issue because our education system is incredibly antiquated in terms of like the way it's actually set up. When, a place like Norway or Sweden, the way their schools are set up, it makes a lot more sense, right? Because they follow
yeah.
something called the Nordic model, where literally they go to school, I think 3 or 4 days a week, and they're not at school for very long,
Mhm.
compared to us, and they're those countries consistently rank as the smartest in the world. So there's clearly some kind of truth to the Nordic model. It's a much more
I
relaxed and
mean,
less
so for
stressful
me,
environment.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
you
For me, uh, I wanted to talk about cultural, the culture behind all these things, because the culture in a society is really important for kind of especially for education and trying to implement other people's tactics.
hmm
For example, in Korea, our their education system is like cutthroat. Like everyone is like sleeping at like 3 o'clock in the morning, or like sleeping at like they only get 2 or 3 hours of sleep, right? Just to
hmm
like prepare for a test and all that. So that's a lot of it's like culture and the size of their country. So
uh-huh.
when you implement that, saying that, oh, well, like, cause a lot of it, like Obama apparently used, that there a lot of the changes that he made were based off of like Asian style education, because he thought it was a good rigorous way for
For
youth
us,
to, yeah, for us, which clearly didn't
no,
work.
it didn't work.
Because not only is that such a big change for like teachers to adapt, which they were way too lazy to even do,
hmm
it's also like for parents who are like teaching like or helping the kids, right, or like what is this, and they're like confused as well, so they can't help. And it's like for us, it's frustrating because it's like, w- why are we learning it this way? There's an easier way to do this, or there's a harder. This is just an easier way. Like there are better ways and worse ways to these adaptations, and I think when you're implementing, you can't just completely just move a system into another. You're gonna have to trial and error and kind of fix it while it goes, and that hasn't happened that much, you know. uh that the fact that like like what you said, like the Nordic system where like everyone gets to work 4 days and then kind of relaxes the rest of the days, right, and kind of they're at school less.
Hmm.
If they did that with us, I feel like because our, like, I'm not saying all Americans are lazy, but we are. We are lazy. So literally, for us, it's great. For teen students, we're like, hell yeah, we get to be there less and all that. But we don't know how that will affect our, our learning.
Hmm.
We're trying the virtual thing in shorter time, and I feel like kids are just kind of being like, yeah, let's just sit down, not listen, not pay attention, and just sit through the entire thing because it's so short, you know.
Hmm.
And I guess that can be because of the virtual aspect, but we will never know. So I feel like instead of just implementing the exact same thing, I feel like we should kind of
But you have to
alter.
change it. Yeah, no, no,
Yeah, of
I'm not
course,
saying,
based on
yeah.
our like based on the culture, because like you can't just implement another person's like adaptation and culture and um something. It's kind of like a gear. You can't just stick another machine's gear into your machine because it wouldn't work. It doesn't fit. You're gonna have to get that and kind of mimic it, but also fit it so that the system is, can work the way it always has, and instead of just, ruining your own machine.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
yeah.
honestly, what I personally think needs to happen is there needs to be more personalization in in by high school, because by high school a lot of what you're doing, at least in some classes like English and to an extent math, not really, but to an extent, you're going over a more advanced or sometimes the same thing that you've already done. And that's when you should start like legitimately, because a lot of people, and myself included, they're like, oh well, I don't really know what I'm really good at. What do I want to do? What do I want to do for college? What do I want to major in? Whatever, or what trade do I want to go in? Or what kind of job do I want to get? Whatever. um, High school doesn't really do that very well. It doesn't help you to understand what you're actually good at least from my experience. And I think, and I've actually had this conversation with other people before, and it really comes down to the idea of personalization. And yes, I know we get electives, and we could choose to do a free, or some classes aren't required, and it allows more freedom for what we want to do. But um, I think that by a certain period, almost everything should, besides maybe like gym, because apparently that is just always required. But like I feel like there should be a lot more personalization in what we do, even if a schedule doesn't change. The classes
Yeah.
themselves should be more personalized to that person's, skill set, I guess, so it can help them to. And I'm not
Yeah, I feel
saying
like.
like don't try new things, but
Mhm.
let them have a little bit more control over what they want to do
Yeah.
after a certain point.
Yeah, because apparently BCA and BT, Bergen Tech and Bergen County, whatever, I forget what it's called. BCA is Bergen County Academies, right? So yeah, they're apparently supposed to be trade schools. They used to be trade schools for high schoolers.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're more prestigious, and they have like kids being able to major in things so they know what they want to do.
Right.
And I feel like don't make that special. That should be like a thing that students should be able to do.
Yeah, that should be an
Like
opportunity
what
for everyone.
yeah, what adults argue with that is like, oh, but like kids don't know what they want to do, and I'm like, that's exactly why you should do it. so that they can test the waters before they go to college and waste money on things like on trying to just, quote unquote test things out, right?
Right, exactly.
Like technically, like a lot of kids go undecided for college because they don't know what they're doing, which is fine. I'm not saying it's an issue, because some people go in undecided knowing what they want to do, or they go undecided because they don't know what to do. But um, you got kind of a 2 year leeway because you don't really need to focus on a major until the last 2 years of college, right?
Right, right.
So, to me personally, I think uh they should still move all that like decision making like before, like in high school, kind of get them to explore themselves more, because high school, a lot of people say, is the period where you find yourself, right? You as a person. And I
Uh-huh.
think that's important. And one thing that can help with that is trying, like, testing on majors, like majoring in something and then seeing if you like it or not, right? And I
Exactly.
think that's, yeah, that's like the big thing. And if somebody, and people obviously argue, like, what if a student chooses something and they really, really hate it and they want to change it? Then what if you just make it so like every 2 years you can change your major? Or if you really, really like it, you stay, right?
Hmm.
I don't see the issue with this. Like, I don't, why isn't this a
Because
thing? Is
because let's be honest. Um, like, and I know people say this like, as a complaint, but when am I, me personally, going to use, biology, physics, chemistry? When am I going to use that in my everyday life? And that is a legitimate question. That's not just a complaint about, the work. I'm fine with doing the work
yeah.
if it's towards something that I will actually use in my life. And I have no
I mean,
plans
it
to
can
be a
also
chemist,
be.
to be a chemist.
I mean, it also could be the issue that like somebody can argue, like, what if somebody didn't know they liked biology, but then
Right.
they came upon biology and they're like, oh, this is actually quite interesting, and they enjoy it.
Hmm.
Um, which makes sense, but I feel like I don't know, how do I say this? It's like uh I guess they should allow the students to experience it. Like, I feel like they should have these things, except chemistry. Chemistry is so dumb. I never learned I've never seen anyone that liked chemistry. Mr. Nutella was a terrible teacher. I'm using Mr. Nutella because,
Yeah.
we don't want to disclose the actual name. Um Terrible teacher, terrible everything. It was a terrible subject in general. I hated that class. That class sucked. But for other classes, I think it makes sense for students to take. I feel like they, but I feel like when you have a major, those things should kind of lose their importance, right? Where, like, if a student goes like, I want to major in art, then things that aren't related to art should kind of just, matter less, right? I think
Mhm.
that's the best way to solve that issue. Because not only do they learn the basics, but they get to it's still important, of course. Like, I'm not saying it's not important, because if you want to switch to a class, like a different major in college, it can matter, right? But like, let's say I majored in art, and then I want to do art forever, and I want to major in art in school, like in a college. Then they'll look at my art major that I've taken in high school and really focus on that grade, right?
Mhm.
And that would make sense. But when you just kind of spread everything away, like make everything equally as important, you kind of, quality drops, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's ultimately the issue, I think.
Yeah, so yeah, I've been rambling on a lot. But yeah, there's a ton of things to talk about school, you know.
Yeah, because
Um
our education system, whatever your opinion of it, it's
mhm.
impossible to deny. It is essentially fact at this point that it is antiquated and that it does need change. What that change is up to debate. But what isn't up to debate anymore is the fact that it does need to be changed. And I feel like a lot of school systems missed out on a free reset button with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
really did.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like uh, only we really get that. You know, like only we kind of understand. Like, oh, this is a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Like other adults don't really understand that, and I don't think it's always like that kind of trope where like kids are more creative than adults, which is true. Like brain wise, we are more creative than adults, and
Yeah.
that's why there's a lot of argument where it's like or jokes. Like there's a lot of jokes where, like, imagine if we governed ourselves, and like, you know, it'd be so much better. Which kind of has its own truth to it. Uh, uh, so,
Yeah.
but yeah, sorry. Like, yeah, it's just like there's a lot of things that we would like to change, and I feel like the adults can kind of they'll catch on, you know, soon. I hope for the next generation at least.
Yeah. No, it's an issue. It needs it ultimately it I think it will eventually be solved. I think cooler heads will prevail, but it's kind of disappointing to see that it hasn't changed. So, anyway.
Yeah. Do you want to go to the next thing? Because you know we've been talking a lot
Yeah,
about
we
school.
can move on. So, actually both it is gaming news time as always. But gaming news seems to be very it's very legal recently for some reason. So everybody, or a lot of people, know about the issue between Apple and Epic Games. They've been, in this legal debate for a while on whether Apple's App Store is a monopoly or not, and Epic Games is like, it is, because they won't let us put Fortnite on without them taking money or whatever. And Apple's like, no, it isn't, and whatever. Honestly, that's not important. That's old news. What is new news is the new issues coming up with Sony and Valve. So to begin with, Sony is in the process of being sued on behalf of customers with the claim that they are unfairly making certain PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 games exclusive downloads only on the PlayStation Store. The lawsuit claims that Sony has created a monopoly by not allowing these games to be sold digitally on other platforms. These games are higher priced than the physical copies and are essentially exempt from competition on the digital market, unlike other companies such as Microsoft and Nintendo, where digital copies can be sold through Amazon, Walmart, whatever, different online retailers. So, do you think that this lawsuit holds any weight to it?
Um, hmm. I mean, weight as in like importance, right?
Do you
Or you
think?
mean
Well, do you
like
think it will actually, lead to something, or is it just going to fizzle out?
I think it's gonna stay. Since it's kind of like the idea that Steam is kind of, you know, holds so much
This
power,
isn't
right?
Steam. This is Sony.
Oh, Sony, sorry.
Sony's PlayStation Store.
Sony, yeah, Sony's PlayStation. Dude, I'm all over the place. But yeah, so Sony being sued on behalf of its customers. Yeah, so uh, yeah, I don't know. Like Sony has been kind of abusive with its power recently. Not like I'm not saying like abusive as in like, oh, we clearly see it, but it's kind of like that subtle um kind of power trip almost, right?
uh,
Where like they're kind of like restricting some things and then like kind of making other things available, but then like the ones that they want to, you know, really make money off of, they just exclusively cut it into, you know, different consoles. Obviously, I don't know too much about the PS4, PS5, and Sony in general, but from what I hear, it has weight in the sense that it's important as well because let's say they get sued for being unfairly making things exclusive, right? If they if the other side wins, then Sony kind of loses its quote unquote monopoly, right, over these games in PS4, PS5. And this not only affects Sony, but like Xbox, Microsoft, like it affects console uh, companies in
Right.
general who kind of have that influence that can control some games from being like, we can have it on here, but not here, and all that.
Yeah.
So the to me, as a gamer and just as a customer in general, uh, I think to me personally, the most important thing is the result. I don't really care about who's right, who's wrong. If what happens is right, like if for example, if somebody wins, like if Sony wins, then I mean, pretty much everything is gonna stay the same, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't mind since I don't buy Sony or Xbox stuff, so. But for if it changes, then not only is Sony gonna have to change, but Xbox, Nintendo, and like other companies are gonna probably follow suit. Since if they don't want to, get a lawsuit, they're gonna have to do what Sony's doing, right? Where they kind of change their ability to kind of restrict things, right?
Yeah. It'll probably lead to other issues just with restrictions in general. You know, what games are like? Can games be exclusive to a platform anymore? Is that considered a monopoly? Is it unfair for a game to be exclusive to one company's device and not cross-platform on a bunch of different devices? Like that kind of thing can lead to a lot of issues. Like is it lawfully unfair for Super Mario to be a Nintendo exclusive game, or does it have the right to be on Xbox and PlayStation? I know that sounds ridiculous, but
Yeah.
like when you start, because Sony, when we're talking about games that Sony has exclusively on the PlayStation Store, they're Sony made games. We're talking, Sony studio games. I'm sure something like The Last of Us is on there, or God of War, whatever, Little Big Planet, whatever. Those kind of games, those are the ones they're talking about that are exclusive on the PlayStation Store. Now, like, if this kind of a thing goes through where Sony is sued and it is ruled in the favor of the plaintiff, which in this case is some group that is representing consumers, like that could lead to questions from other companies or Sony itself again on, well, if the games on the PlayStation Store have to be sold at other retailers, what does that say about the games themselves? Is it unfair for the games to exclusively be played on PlayStation? Does Xbox and Nintendo have the right to have those games playable on their console even if they can't run them? But it's that kind of a question. Is
Yeah.
it does
But
unfair, quote unquote, lead to other things?
I do feel that for like if the company is making I don't know how to say it, like Nintendo for example, right? They made what's it called? They made Mario, right? So I feel like they have the right to kind of restrict, right, their own creation to other platforms. But when it comes to like other studios, right, like Game Freak, for example, like
But
they're exclusively on Nintendo,
well, but
right?
they're owned. They're a sec. It's a second company,
No, that's what I'm
a
saying. That's what
second
I'm saying.
party. It's owned. No, sorry, it's a second party. So it's a Nintendo owned studio, right? So
Yeah.
it's technically part of Nintendo anyway.
Okay. So, are there any other games that are not owned by Nintendo that go into Nintendo
I mean,
that are exclusively to
sure.
Nintendo?
Oh, I have no idea actually.
Well, like, see, that's the thing. If it's owned by Nintendo, right? Like, let's say, like I just said, like Mario. they
Right.
should be able to, make their own exclusiveness, right? It's
I
almost
oh
like
yeah.
this is it's like I have a story that I made and I told it to and I'm like I want to exclusively sell it on Barnes and Noble. But then the customers were like, "No, I don't want to buy at Barnes and Noble. I want it to be over in another freaking
Bookstore.
bookstore, right?" And then I'm like, "No, that's my choice," and which is understandable. If it's yours, you can do whatever you want with it.
Hmm.
Let's say if it was a third party game that like another like the console companies are forcing or like making a contract for them to like exclusively sell only to them, right?
Yeah.
Then I think it's fair to kind of I guess sue them almost, right? In the way that they're so influential that if they don't do it with them, they can't kind of do it with anyone else, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so big and they have the largest audience. So it makes sense that they would sue for that reason. However, I don't think it's right to force a company that makes their own games to share it with other companies. That makes
Yeah.
no sense.
Well, now the thing that people are arguing here, a lot of it is that the games on the PlayStation Store, a comparable game, it is a higher price than the physical copy, or a comparable digital game on Xbox or Nintendo online stores. So, like, let's say, okay, for PlayStation, for example, let's say it's The Last of Us Part 2, and the retail game in a store, the physical copy, costs you $60, okay?
Yeah.
And then on the PlayStation Store, it costs you $70, and
Yeah.
they are allowed to make it $70 because there's no other store that's competing with them uh, that could lower the price. So they could make the digital price anything they want because there's no other digital storefront that is selling it in that form. It is the only place that you can get that product from. So they can make the price whatever they want. They can make the price $100, and people would probably still buy it because it's the only way to get a digital version of the game. And because digital is becoming such a big deal now, people don't even want to get physical copies anymore. They're like, ah, that's dumb. But like
Yeah.
that's going to become the issue, and um, so a company like Microsoft or Nintendo, you can buy uh, on digital versions of it online at Amazon. They'll give you a code to put on the eShop or the Microsoft Store or whatever. If
Yeah.
you buy the game for $60 on Amazon, or if you buy the game, sometimes I see there's like you could buy a game code at Target or Walmart. There's like a little card and has the game code on the back. So this is an exclusively PlayStation issue. I think. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I
Mhm.
do think that it could lead to bigger issues in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, whenever a company like this is being sued, it's gonna have a ripple effect on almost
Right.
every gaming company.
Exactly.
So I don't know. This one is a very important issue, but also one that I don't really know too much about. So
Right.
yeah, I'm going to say though, it is only fair for the company that owns the game, that made the game, first of all, should be able to do whatever they want with it. Because that you
Yeah.
can't be
That.
so
Right.
entitled in saying it's unfair that their own game is played on their own console.
Right.
Like that's like just saying that I'm unwilling to buy another console to play this game. If you really want it, just buy the other console, and if you can't,
Or
then too bad. That's just
or
not
just
how that
buy
works.
or just buy the physical version of the game. Like if you're so
Yeah,
upset about the price being higher, I don't get why people don't like buying physical games. I don't get it. Yeah, they take up space. So I don't I don't know. Maybe that's just me being a collector, but like just buy a physical game if you don't want to pay $70 instead of 60. Like just do it. I don't get why you need to sue Sony over this. If it becomes like $100, okay, maybe you could like maybe they could boycott or something. I don't know, but like I don't know. This is not. It's not good. it's unhealthy for the industry, in my opinion, for something like that. And it's starting to have a ripple effect because a lot of other companies are getting sued over monopolistic claims, which segues directly into Article 2. So, Article 2. Another lawsuit is currently being filed against Valve, the big V, with claims that their online Steam store is a monopoly. Now, people have been saying this for years, but it's mostly been as a joke. So, according to game developer and Humble Bundle creator Wolfire Games, Valve abuses its market power to ensure game publishers have no choice but to sell most of their games through the Steam store, which they are subject to Valve's 30% toll. So, Valve has control over 75% of the PC market, or the PC gaming market, sorry. And when a game goes on the Steam store, it is essentially if a game is $60 and you buy that game for $60, only $40 of that would be going to the developer, and the other 20 is going into Valve's pocket instead. So, and if you think about it, right, PC gaming is huge now, and Valve has control over 75% of that market. So, with PlayStation, what are your thoughts? Is this a monopoly?
The fact that they own 75% of the PC gaming market. What does Valve own again? Like, what do they do?
Steam.
They own Steam.
Yeah. And they also on the side. This is a sarcastic claim. On the side, they also make some video games. They made a couple video games, TF2, Half-Life, Portal, Left 4 Dead. Some of the best.
So they made very epic games.
Some of the best-selling and greatest games of all time.
Okay. I don't know what to tell, but say that's not really like. I mean, they own. Okay, fine. They own 75% of the PC games. And they own
the market. They have that much control
of the market. Yeah, they own a lot, which is actually alarming. I'm surprised they own that much. But again, I'd rather have everything in one place than random places, especially for like PC, because like Steam itself is an app, right? It's an application.
Yeah.
Which you have to.
It's a marketplace. It's a store.
Yeah, it's a store you have to download, which also takes space. If I wanted and then on top of that, there's other, what's it called? Other Epic Games is one of them, right? Like where you can be pieces. But let's say this Steam gets sued and it actually works. Then it's gonna be split up. It's gonna be dispersed, and there's gonna be like a trillion more stores that I have to download different other games.
Yeah.
That's so dumb. Why? I think that's really that's inefficient, not only for customers, but for for the company itself as well. I mean, a lot of the customers are probably thinking, or the idiots that think this is a good thing is going to be like, yeah, monopolies are bad and whatnot. But I don't really think Steam is selling these games in an unfair, price. Are they?
No. The issue is that they're taking a very large percentage of the profit from the developer of the game. They're taking 30% of the profit from the game, and that's what people are upset about.
That they're taking.
If a game is being sold for $60, they're taking 20 of those dollars. And that adds up. That's why they're worth billions of dollars.
I mean, again, 20%, right?
30%.
Okay. Well, for Apple stores, I think they steal a. They still.
Oh well, they're also in a lawsuit with monopolistic claims, so it's not a good example.
But see. I don't understand. Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Well, it's a good example in the sense that these guys are getting penalized for something that they kind of like. For example, for Apple, right? They're the Apple Store. Apple has the right to say no. I'm not gonna put in another gaming store into my app when I made this. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
right?
their argument, well, I guess it's Epic Games or whatever. Their argument is that the App Store is a monopoly, as it doesn't allow, like, that Apple itself does not allow for other marketplaces to be on iOS devices. That is the argument. Is that there's no market share between other companies. Is Apple? No other company has the opportunity to open a marketplace on Apple devices where, on Android or whatever. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's
but that's also
mostly Google, but you could actually get anything you want.
yeah. But if you think about it this way, right? For that's only looking at Apple's though, right? Apple itself is not the sole market. It's
On
there.
iOS, it is. That's the
Well,
issue.
iOS, yes, but that's the thing. That's like saying, for example, there's three plots of land, right? There's three plots of land, and my land is being sued because I don't want to have, because I'm selling sheep, right? There's sheep on my land, and then a cow farmer just walks onto my land and then sues me because he wants to sell cows on my sheep farm. When then there's other farms, there's two other farms that allow this person to sell their cows.
Right.
iOS isn't the only device or only system that exists in this entire market or tech market in general.
No.
They're
No, I
one
know.
of the so that's my issue is like they're the if you look at it only at an iOS standpoint, of course they're a monopoly. You're looking at a small pond of like with this guy who owns, you know what I mean? Like it's let's say it's my story and I've written like I like chocolate and blah blah blah, and then this guy comes in and go like, this is not allowed because you're only talking about chocolate. You should put in vanilla. You should put in strawberry. No, because it's my choice.
Right.
It's iOS. Apple owns iOS. What I don't like is like they feel like it's necessary for these products that another person made should like let other people just put their own marketplace. If it's my thing, I should have the ability to say yes or no to what it is,
Right.
right? And also, it's like on like Android like systems, I'm pretty sure they allow you to sell other things on it, right? Like they allow you to download things off like on the internet. You're able to kind of like do things. It's more open system than the iOS system, which is the whole difference. That's why a lot of people fight over Android and iOS. Is like iOS is closed system and Android is open. So if I feel like why Epic Games wants to kind of is suing Apple is because they want their own. They want to kind of consume the entire audience as well. So they have their own monopolistic intentions underneath that quote unquote attitude of we want to break the monopolistic difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, back to what we're saying
With
here
Valve,
about
yeah.
Steam. Yeah, about Valve. I don't know. I feel like it's so much easier to just. It's easier for us, but I get why on the developer side it's unfair for them to take
That much
30%.
money. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also that argument. It's like Steam is also like literally that one-way highway to a lot of other games. So a ton of like PC gamers use Steam.
Yeah, I mean
So
here's the
it
thing.
makes sense for them. It makes sense for them to take a huge toll because they're the only major company,
Yeah, because
which
I
is
mean,
not only easy. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, Steam is not yelling at you as a developer. They're like, "Oh, you better put your game on Steam. You better put your game on Steam. Oh, why aren't you putting your game on Steam?" No, they're not saying that. They're like, "Oh yeah, if you want to put your game on Steam, that's fine. Do it. But just know that this is the way we operate." And
Yeah, exactly.
admittedly, it is a pretty shitty thing. But like, that is their rule.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want with it. And they're like,
I
listen,
guess it's unfair, but I don't think they should be sued over it. Like I
No.
get
They
their
should
big
change it.
Their big issue here is the 30% toll.
Yeah. Oh,
But then
100%.
they're also arguing that they own over 75%. So for them to correlate these two numbers is because they're saying they are so influential that they can
have
force
to.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
like if a company wants their game to succeed, they have to put it on Steam, which unfortunately is kind of true. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not impossible for a game not to work. It's on
Yeah,
another
but I feel
platform.
like if this is an issue, like in Apple stores, what they like developers or game developers also do is add the 30% in anyways. You know what I mean? Like add that onto the innate price
Yeah,
so that it
exactly.
kind of so when you buy it, it kind of just drops out onto it, it's already paid for by the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
So doing that makes sense, but it also increases the price, which
Yeah,
makes sense.
the issue with that would be like if it's a cross-platform game and it's a $60 game everywhere, and then on Steam it's like 80 or something. It's like, oh well, I guess I'm gonna buy it on PlayStation or whatever.
Yeah, that's the. It's so unfair. I get why people are angry about that. I guess instead of suing them, they should have just like made like a petition and like kind of argue on dropping it, because I know Steam can definitely like
they
they
can
know
afford.
how strong. They know how strong they are, but they also know that they are a monopoly. They are a monopoly, having over 75%. But to avoid this entire situation, they could have just negotiated and dropped the 30% toll to something like 25 or 20.
Hopefully, with this lawsuit, they will be influenced to do that, because I don't think they really want to get in a lawsuit. They're already having to like give up confidential documents to the whole Apple Epic Games thing, which I don't even really want to get into because I don't fully understand it. But like, I'm 100% sure they do not want to get into any legal issues right now, because it's just gonna screw themselves up even more than they already are with the Apple Epic thing.
Yeah, they probably don't. See, Apple also should just drop their thing, because Apple already makes so much money.
Yeah, they really should. Like, just let freaking Fortnite back on the App Store. Jesus Christ, just stop.
No, I think that was a good idea.
Oh well, I don't.
Fortnite
Well, I know. Well, I know, but like that's bias over it. If it was any other thing, like Jesus Christ, just stop. Just put it on. Like, God, literally, it's your Apple. Like, just you don't care. Do you really care? I know it's Fortnite, but like, do you care? Okay, God, Tim Cook, please, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's a SMH issue.
I don't get it. But yeah, that's basically all the gaming news. Honestly, it has been a quiet week, pretty much, other than this legal stuff, which doesn't even really have to do with games as much as it does the game industry.
Yeah, it's legal issues, but I think it's a very important.
Oh, it is. It is.
So,
It's for the health of the gaming market in general.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We need to kill these people. No, I'm joking. But yeah, let's go to the next topic, which is updates. So
as we start to wrap up the show a bit.
Exactly. So we promise we're gonna get a guest next week for you guys, cause listening to two of us is probably just boring. And I just rant forever and ever. So yeah, that probably bores everyone out of their minds. So yeah. There's somebody we have in contact that's actually quite popular in YouTube. So we're hoping that we're not going to disclose their gender, so it's a he, she, or it, or whatever gender she is. Shit, I fucked up. Well, anyways, we're gonna cut that. It's fine. But yeah, so yeah, we're getting this person. We're hoping we get this person on to our podcast, get her an interview, kind of like what we did with the Novas, CEO or group or leader or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, any other thing you want to talk about, Tyler?
Yeah, I wanted to get committed episode 2 out like last week, but honestly, I'm having a lot of issues with. As people who have seen it know, basically the whole thing is historical photos, and there are a lot of historical photos of the place that I'm currently working on, but the video is a lot longer because it has an even more convoluted history. It's actually more than twice as long as the episode of the first one on Danvers, so it's taken a bit. I'd say it's 50% done. If I really put my mind to it, I could get it done by like next week. Hopefully, it'll be out next week. So look forward to it. But if it doesn't come, I'm not making any promises. That's all I'm saying. It takes hours to edit 5 minutes of that video, if it makes any sense.
I also wanted to talk
pictures.
about our other projects that have been kind of shelved for now. Like for example, our horror short.
Very much on the back burner.
Yeah, we're actually, so the issue with that is we need one more person for that to act up. We finished the end scenes for that. We just need to finish the beginning parts of it. So that's our big issue. Our other bigger skit is like kind of a graduation, like a goodbye, a love letter to the graduation year for all of us. So that's been in the works, but I've been too busy to actually write a proper script. I haven't even written like character lists. And honestly, I've been too busy with playing Minecraft and studying to do anything like that. So yeah, other than that, the updates are pretty much good, right?
Yeah, that's about all I have to talk about.
All right, yeah. That's pretty much it. Well, thank you guys for watching our episode or listening or just clicking on it, I guess. And subscribe and like to this video. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
See you guys then.